I'm Gab, he's Jules. Blue skies over West London. Bluer skies still over North London because Tottenham Hotspur win away to Manchester City again. We're going to get into that in a minute, but Jules, there's so much going on this evening. You don't even know where to start. Obviously, the Bundesliga kicking off, Serie A kicking off, Real Madrid winning. And how about that Max Dowman? We'll get to him. We'll get to him. But let's start at the Etihad because... All right, let's go. Get the joke out of the way. Ha, ha, ha. Tottenham witchcraft. Oh, they always beat City. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, fine. But this was different, right? The different coach, different players in many ways. And it's impossible not to make the narrative of this 2-0 win, I think, about the goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. Because Ederson, who's been rumored to be on his way out, he only has a year left on his contract, hasn't extended. There's interest from Galatasaray. He was on the bench. Yeah. James Trafford started. James Trafford, 22 years old, the most expensive British goalkeeper in history, came over from Burnley. And then, of course, there's the Donnarumma elephant in the room. Yeah. Fabrizio Romano and many others reporting that he has a deal in place with Manchester City. They still need to negotiate. And so the last thing you want if you're James Trafford is to have an iffy performance. And that's kind of what happened. Certainly in the second goal, Tijani Reinders, he plays the ball to him when he shouldn't have. Yeah, to Nico, the first goal also not exceptional. I mean, he gets a hand to it. I mean, would have been a difficult save, but so this changes the narrative a little, does it? Yeah, it does. There's mistakes all around from City on the first goal, on the second goal. The second goal is Trafford's mistakes, really. There's never a pass there for Nico. He should never have tried even that pass, never even have thought about making it, and he did. And after that, it's just a disaster, and Palhinha scores to make it 2-0. The first one is more his defense that kind of lets him down, but you're right.
And there's a slip, too, from Ruben Diaz.
Yeah, Stones. So Diaz misses the header with Sarr, and then Stones, who tries to play offside, which on Richarlison, probably not the smartest idea either, then slips. And then Rico Lewis, who clearly can see where Brian Johnson is and then forgets where he is late on his tackle, and then it's a tap in for Johnson, really. So there's a lot of things that I think City needs to improve on defensively, and those mistakes will cost you whoever you are, whoever you play against. And that was not helped by the Trafford. That never really looked not much serenity, I thought, in his play.
Which is hard. I mean, you can understand when you're 22 years old, you're back, you've been at Burnley the last 2 seasons, and you read the papers as well as anybody. You know the situation that's going on. It's your first home game. We're gonna go back to this. Although quickly, let's get, as they like to say in Spain, the sensation. Your sense, if you had to guess, finger in the wind, will Donnarumma be a City player come September 2nd?
Yeah, I think so, 100%.
All right, I'm gonna go closer to 60%. But we have to talk about Spurs as well, because 3 different games, 3 different lineups, 3 different approaches. In this one, they went and they were very aggressive, pressing with the front 3 plus Papsar. I have to say, though, that before City despair, 2 big mistakes leading to 2 goals. If you take those errors out of it, City bossed this game in terms of expected goals, 1.65 to, I think, 0.6. They had those chances with Marmoush. They had the Haaland header. Yeah. City weren't that bad, even with all these deficiencies.
No. Yeah, you're right. And Pep is right after the game. I think he's still not clicking completely. We saw Shirky with his first start in the Premier League. Only lasted 50-odd minutes. He needs more time. There were some good things. Others were a bit too neutral, maybe. Maybe his position play is not at the right level yet to play in this team. Marmoush on the left, I'm not sure. On the right, I mean, there was not enough from Oscar Bob. I thought Enrico Lewis coming inside too. So there was a lot of things. Nouri coming off after 20 minutes. There was a lot of things that disturbed probably the rhythm of City, the rhythm that is not there yet anyway. But you're right, it's not all bad. It will just take a bit of time because there's a lot of new players. Reinders was not as good as he was against Wolves because the opposition was better. They suffered against the high aggressive press from Spurs and all those players running everywhere, and the 2 centre-backs, Romero and Van de Ven following everybody around. It was very difficult for City to get out of that, which is unusual because usually they are very good at beating your press.
I think a lot of this is on Pep. And I think he got outcoached in this game.
I don't think so.
The insistence, well, we'll break that down further on the
Yeah.
Gab Juls podcast, but I will give you the reason why the insistence on building up from the back, putting Nico in that position. You need somebody more press resistant. This was a game for Bernardo Silva, I thought. All right, Jules, let's stick with this because I sense another disagreement coming on.
Yeah.
So, look, obviously the reason City, I mean, we've said it, right? City had enough chances to score. They could have scored 2 or 3 goals in this game, and the 2 goals that they gave up were free goals.
Yeah.
However, let me outline my case, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and before I put the disclaimer in there, he's Pep Guardiola. He's won everything. He's one of the GOATs. The other guy is a guy with 2 first names, okay? But in this game, Pep made things unnecessarily harder for himself. And in that sense, I think he got outcoached. When you see that they're going to kind of play that 3+1 high press, you need press resistant players. So obviously Stones is that. Rico Lewis, maybe. Nori, not so much, but then he goes out. And then Ake comes in, who's obviously not press resistant. And that puts a lot of strain on Nico, who I don't think is particularly good, as you know. Maybe if Rodri's there, you can get away with a 4-1-4-1. So that would be one point. And the other point is, all right, James Trafford came through the youth ranks at Manchester City. So presumably, they all comfortable on the ball, blah, blah, blah. Equally, he's a dude who's 6'6", and he played for a team last year in Burnley, who I didn't watch very much, but people who did told me that it's not like they were playing out with the back and he was being Beckenbauer. So why put him in that situation? If you know they're pressing you high, why play out from the back in this game? Maybe he's not ready for it. And I thought, and it wasn't just the second goal. There were other situations when he did not look comfortable. So why not tweak your plan?
But no, I mean, they played long on Haaland a few times. That was clearly the plan. I think on the second goal, I don't really know what he sees in that pass for Nico. There's no pass there, but I think you try as much as you can to build up from the back. And you know they're going to press you high. Pep had prepared for it. It's always what Thomas Frank does when he comes to the Etihad. Even with Brentford, it was the same. So you just know exactly what's going to happen. And you know that it will be a man-to-man high press from Spurs. So that's why you play long on Haaland a lot. That's why you don't try always to build up from the back. Okay, they tried once and it was wrong and they paid for it. But I don't think it was that bad. And again, as you said, Gabby, outside of the 2 goals that came from City mistakes more than anything else, Spurs have nothing. And actually Spurs didn't recover that ball that high that much. There's one when that free kick that Pedro Porro takes, when Haaland chested the ball down and then doesn't look around and gets done by Romero and Richarlison. But then, so they didn't lose that too much. It's just they knew it would be aggressive. They knew they had to play long. They play long quite well. And you need a defensive midfielder there. You can't have Reinders and Bernardo Silva playing against a team like Spurs in the way the Spurs played on Saturday.
I was going to suggest Bernardo Silva with Reinders. I was going to suggest
Bernardo Silva with who? You said Nico should not have played.
No. I don't think Nico's good. No, you have to have Nico in there, right?
So no Reinders.
No Shirky in this game.
Oh, but no, that's exactly what you need against a team that press.
I think Bernardo Silva, who's older, who's more settled into the team,
might
have made more of a difference there.
No, I think Shirky, exactly, and that's why Shirky dropped a lot. Not because
Shirky came off, by the way.
After 55 minutes, which I think is fair, to be fair, because I think he was maybe not right there. Bernardo Silva had a shocking entrance, by the way.
Yeah, he does not look good.
I don't think Bernardo Silva was the answer, but we saw Shirky in that first half. A lot of Guardiola messages to him was just like, I need you to drop as well to beat that press. So I knew he was going to start. I thought it was a good idea to start him. Maybe he was not at the level he should have been. And again, it's his first time in the Premier League. I think he was overwhelmed by the intensity of this game, which is very different to Ligue 1 and very different to anything that Ryan, I think, had experienced before. And there's a few times in the first half where City are pressing and Shirky is too far away from Haaland in the way they're trying to press because he was there trying to play for the ball, then it goes just so quickly. So this will come, but I think he was right to start Shirky and Reinders and Nico if Rodri was not fitter to start from the get-go.
I guess we're making the generic excuses for every team that plays in the Club World Cup. Let's also point out that they haven't had that much time in training together, right?
Yeah, which is true.
Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea. All right, let's shift back to the goalkeepers. To me, the interesting thing here is, and we said this all along, is, all right, Trafford doesn't look great with his feet, and Ederson is obviously a standout. And you're looking at Donnarumma,
Yeah.
who, of course, the Luis Enrique narrative was that, he's not, I mean, I don't think Luis Enrique ever actually said this in
No,
public,
but yeah,
but
we
that
know.
was obviously coming through the club. And now, do you think Pep would change? I mean, Donnarumma may not have been good with his feet, but obviously he was good enough with his feet in terms of whole package to make him have a major impact on Paris Saint-Germain. But do we think Pep would tweak the way they play and the way they build up if Donnarumma comes in? And if he does it for Donnarumma, can he do it for Trafford as well?
No, I don't think so. I think Trafford is better with his feet than Donnarumma. If Donnarumma comes and starts, then you ask him the same thing, but you know that there are going to be a couple of passes that are going to go out for a throw or overhead or not as precise, maybe because he's not as good as Ederson, for example, with the ball. So when Ederson does 10 out of 10 passes right, then Gigio is going to do 6 out of 10 or maybe 7, but maybe you're ready to take that if you're Pep because he's the best on his line.
Especially if the ball goes out of play, in the sense that what I don't want is a goalkeeper getting caught in possession or a goalkeeper mishitting a pass to a defender, then the defender loses the ball. If he's just, here comes somebody, let me just use the big boot and maybe I'll find Oscar Bob, but then he doesn't, it goes out of play. I'm okay with that. Especially I'm okay with that because I'm Man City. Because you know what? All of a sudden, we're 60 yards up the pitch. They have a throw in, but we're pressing. That's where we like to recover the ball. I have more dynamic players this year, and Reinders and Cherky, and Bob is back from his injury and whatever, and Doku. So I'm okay with that. The key thing is, though, you can't expect Donnarumma or Trafford to hit the sort of passes to thread the needle to break the press the way Ederson did. So I think that adjustment can be made. What I'm not 100% sure on now, and it seems to be the only sticking point left, is the price, the cost of the transfer. Certainly his camp was briefing long ago that, he's got a year left. He's the greatest goalkeeper in the world because, of course, Vincenzo Raiola would say that. But it's like, with a year left, 15 to 20 million euros sounds fair. Does that seem reasonable to you?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, PSG won twice that, so I don't know if you meet in the middle. PSG probably a bit greedy on that 40 million euros.
They're saving themselves a lot of money in salary because I'm sure
absolutely.
Chevalier makes 1/5 what he does.
Yeah, completely. I think it looks very to me like a short-termist move from Pep in the sense that I don't think Pep will be there next season. I think this is his last season with City. I think he thinks he might not fit my model and my philosophy exactly, completely. It's like signing Courtois. He would have never signed somebody like Donnarumma or even Courtois 5 or 6 years ago because he needed an Ederson type, and he got it. But now he's thinking 1 year, the guy's going to win me games on the line because he's the best on his line, which is completely true. With the ball on crosses, I can probably deal with that. Yeah, he's going to cost me a few goals. Yes, he's not the best in those two departments. But because he's so good on his line, that's fine. I take that and we can deal with the rest. And then it's just that one season because after that, I might not be. And even if he's there, it will be 2 more seasons and that's it. So, yeah, that's what I think it is. And that's why I think it will happen.
The other point on Trafford, now, as you know, I don't watch the championship, but I do speak to people who do. Last season, he conceded 16 goals in 46 games, which is
incredible.
I don't know if it's a record, but it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, 29 clean sheets.
In the modern era, right? The analytics nerds I speak to point out that he owned, in terms of XG conceded, Burnley conceded 36.5 XG last season, and he conceded 16 goals, which means either he was superhuman or there is a large element of statistical variance, aka luck, good fortune, whatever, to go with it.
Yeah.
Which is it?
I think it's a bit of both. Yeah, I really do. I think he's a really good young goalkeeper, outstanding on his line at times last season in the championship because he made some miraculous saves. The other times where they rode their luck massively, not just him, but the Burnley defense as a whole, in a team that was built around being solid defensively first and foremost. So yeah, I think there's a bit of both. Could he be a number one at City right now at 22? I'm not sure. They invested a lot of money on him, but is it for now? Is it for in a little while, for example? But if Donnarumma comes, Donnarumma is only 4 years older than him, so he would be a number 2 forever at City if he stays. So Not sure. Did they sign him thinking he's going to be the backup to Ederson for one season and then take over a bit like Mamadashvili and kind of Alisson?
I think that might have been the plan.
And then Donnarumma just changed everything because he became available when they maybe didn't think he was going to become available. I just don't know. But
No, I think we can take that as read because I know that, at least from what I was told, as late as sort of May, early June, Raiola's camp were very confident that they were going to be able to work something out with Paris Saint-Germain, right? And correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Not just when the move for Chevalier was finalized, but even like the first approaches for Chevalier came after that, right? Sort of the breaking point between Donnarumma and Paris Saint-Germain was towards the end of June, as I understand it. So I think the other point here is from a team building perspective. If you're Hugo Viana, who now is the guy who presumably will be there if and when Pep goes.
Yeah.
And by the way, we haven't brought up the 130 charges yet, but who knows what impact that might have too, right?
Yeah.
I think the thinking is if you have Donnarumma, who by the way, plays a ton of games, but also tends to smash up his face when he does play and will miss games, and there's a lot of games this season. I think Kelleher showed that you can preserve value in a very talented number two.
Yeah.
Even if he's not the starter. He's only 22 years old. You can bring him along. He's one of the England keepers. He's in the mix anyway. I don't think he started the World Cup if England qualified. But you can preserve that transfer value. So I get the logic there. Of course, in a year or two, you're going to have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Unless Donnarumma is just being parked there and then he's waiting. I don't know. He's waiting for Courtois to retire. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Courtois not that old, by the way. There's one other team, by the way, that's never been linked to Donnarumma, to my knowledge, and I'm just curious. I just want to get your take. It was a purely stylistic thing. Bayern have a goalkeeper who's nearly 40.
Yeah.
It seems was it weird to you that never came on anybody's radar?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, that ship
right.
has sailed,
yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah. Is it hard to bring Donnarumma as a backup to Neuer, though? I mean, Donnarumma would not want that. Donnarumma would want to come and be the number one.
Yeah, but you're going to be the number one next year.
True, but it's a World Cup year where you don't play much if you're Donnarumma and go to Bayern now.
But Neuer's going to go skiing and get a debut
true,
and whatever.
true,
I don't know. I just thought it was. I just wondered if that was ever part of the conversation, or if they were like Vincenzo Raiola family. No, we don't want any part of this. But they will be on the market for a goalkeeper. I mean, they've tried to groom number twos, Parrots, whatever. It's not necessarily working so far. So I think that's definitely a situation to watch.
Yeah, they've got Oilbig that I think is the one that will replace Neuer anyway. I don't think they see that position as a problem going forward.
Yeah, but they thought Parrots was going to be the one. They thought
Nubo
was going to be the one.
He played well. I think they see him certainly as the heir to Neuer.
As far as Spurs are concerned,
great win.
How do we see this team going forward? Because obviously they lost out on Eze. They're being linked with Piero Hincapié. We're going to talk about their other links further.
Yeah.
We both said, do they really need another center back? I guess
maybe,
Hincapié can play midfield too.
Yeah, true. Or a left back. They need back three maybe, which might be the idea sometimes. But the 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 in this game worked really well. Richarlison, I just don't know how much you could get him. This is very much a running team. Okay, they beat Burnley. But it's very much a running team, as we saw. Like Saha had a very good game against City in a very much athletics way, in a running way, because he didn't touch the ball that much. I think he made 14 passes in 90 minutes. That's not many passes.
For your number 10.
Yeah, for your number 10, exactly. But that was not the game. The game was not to have the ball. The game was to chase the ball all the time as much as possible, put them under pressure and hoping for mistakes that they would make, which they made, and it worked for you. It's not going to work every time, all the time, but 2 games, 2 wins in 2 different ways in the league.
And he can change it up, though.
Absolutely.
That's what I like about Frank is he's not wed to anything.
He's very
pragmatic.
In other games, he's good.
He puts big Dom Solanke in there, and they lump balls to him, and he knocks them down for other people. Yeah. He can do that too.
Yeah,
I think that's the interesting thing. Where you're going to suffer, I think, a bit is in terms of chemistry, and also the fact that certainly we saw this at Brentford too. You don't necessarily have individual standouts. It's very much a group thing, right? Even if you're Damsgaard or Eriksson when he was there or whatever. So people have to adapt to that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it seems like he's on to a good thing so far.
Very good. Yeah.
I need to see them tested
Yeah.
in more
exactly.
normal
Yeah,
more normal
absolutely.
circumstances.
Absolutely. But yeah, good start.